Ooh, yeah, yeah.
My Generation Z's, and they call it Generation Alpha. We are relying on you. The baby boomers are about to pass. The elders, the elderly, the Generation X. There's not enough of them. And then us millennials, we're done for. And you guys are all we have left. If you're between the ages of 18 and 28 today, all hope is on you. I know that's a lot of burden to bear. So, I'm going to leave you guys with some fundamental principles of life. And these are the ones that got me through. Number 1, Hakuna Matata. Have fun and don't worry about anything. If things were going to happen badly, they would have happened already. And once they happen and you've gone through it, that's not a curse on you. That is a blessing. Every mistake that you've ever made in your lifetime becomes a lesson, not a curse, not a burden. Just don't make the same mistake twice. That's it. All right? And it'll lead me to my next one. Fear. Fake evidence appearing real. There's no need to fear anything at all unless it's a tiger, a lion, an elephant, something big and real, right? That's what you should fear, if anything. Just don't go near a lion and tiger. I think that's common sense. And don't believe the hype. When people try to scare you about something, they're telling you like, oh my God, I'm serious about this. They're typically just trying to throw you away and throw you off your game, all right? So once you've understood all of that, no worries, right? Hakuna Matata. There's no such thing as fear and fake evidence appearing real. Here's where you start your fundamentals of life, right here. Ready? Number 1, learn more than one skill. It'll give you a cushion, if anything, to fall forward onto, right? For me, growing up right out of high school, I love cars, right? My older brother was an auto mechanic, so I followed him. And he taught me everything, well, most of the things I knew about cars at the time. So I even went to the community college for auto mechanics, which is the dumbest thing ever. Don't do that, by the way. All auto mechanics are just experience. You do need a certification, but your workplace will pay for that if you work at a dealership. Anyways, learn more than one skill. So when I became an auto mechanic, I also learned how to sell myself, and I'll talk about that a little bit later. But my second skill was I became a pharmacy technician at the local Snyder Drug. And those are 2 skills that made me very valuable. I learned how to work with customers and sell things. That'll allow you, in case, let's say, your pharmacy job lays you off like mine did, you can go into auto mechanics and fix cars for a living. So you don't have to go back to school. Right now, if you're in your 18s or your early 20s, spend time learning. That'll lead me to my next one. Discipline is your greatest defense. Only then can you say yes to everything. You never want to miss an opportunity. Let's say someone invites you to a trip to California and you don't have the money. Or let's say you wanted to go on a cruise trip and your friends are all going, right? And you don't have the money. Find it. Don't let money be something that inhibits you from doing something. Don't do that. Go take out a loan. Who cares? A high interest loan. Do it. Experience is better than no experience. You'll always regret saying no in the end. And even if you went on a trip and something dramatically happened that was traumatizing, at least then you have the discipline to learn from it, right? So you got to understand, discipline goes a long way. What's the definition of discipline? It's repeating something until you master it. For instance, for me, if it's martial arts, which is something that I repeated through all my lifetime, all I did every single day was punch through a hole every day, just so I perfected it. You just do it every single day, and whenever you're ready. I don't need to go to a gym to learn how to do this, right? I don't need to go to a gym to learn how to do that. I could do it standing right here in my desk. So discipline is something that you repeat every single day until you master it. It doesn't matter if it's martial arts, drawing, cars, a skill, learning how to code, whatever. Find a discipline you like and do it every day. And if you can't, and it's really hard for you to do a discipline every day, 1 hour a day goes a long way. Hell, 1 minute a day goes a long way. Let's say you want to find a discipline, but you don't. Let's say reading a book. That was the hardest thing for me. I didn't start reading a book until I went to prison. And it was like, I finished like 13 books in prison. And it wasn't prison, but it was, what do you call it? Workhouse. Yeah. I've never finished a book in my lifetime until I went to the workhouse. And it was an eye opener for me. I love books now. I can't stop reading them. But now, like, they're starting to get real boring. And when you read a book, right, you have to pay attention to the book, and you can't really pay attention to anything else. Like, you can't read and drive. Even if you're in the passenger seat and you're reading, you get a headache and you start getting car sick. So it's a hard thing to do. So read 1 page a day. It goes a long way. And by the way, if you don't understand something, it's okay to read it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Read it over and over and over again. It's okay to repeat something. Just because you didn't catch it the first time, it doesn't mean you're going to look stupid rewinding it. Rewind it 100 times over. That's what I do. That's how I understand things. It's really hard to understand things the first time. All right? Once you've understood the 1 hour a day rule and you had the discipline to learn something, and you learn more than one skill, continuous improvement, right? And then you got over the fear of whatever it is that you fear, and you understand that life is no worries. Establish yourself in your community, because you've learned more than one skill. You have the discipline. You've got value now. Go out there, look for a group. Go be a part of something like a city hall event. Go be a part of a committee. Do something. Go look up your local city hall events and go be a part of that. Sign up. Go meet new people outside of your community. You know, for me, that's how I learned the most, was traveling to the Native Americans, which is I've been working with the Liberians, the Ghanaians. I've worked with the Nigerians. I've worked with all kinds of communities. That's what brings me value, right? Because I wanted to represent the Hmong people, not to help the Hmong people, but to show them what Hmong people are capable of doing outside of our community. Because quite frankly, we as our own ethnic culture should not be helping each other out, because it makes us feel some type of way, right? You're Hmong, I'm Hmong, and if I come to you like, oh, hey, you need some help with that, I can help you with that. But we look the same. We're all going to feel some type of way helping each other out if we look the same. And I know what you guys are saying, like, that's not always the case. Yeah, it isn't always the case, but you eliminate a lot less of that feeling if you go outside of your community and help somebody else. It's easier that way. It's just way better. After you've established yourself in the community, right? Become one of those committees that decides on how something works in the city. Learn the fundamentals of how to gather people. Once you've gathered them, learn how to congratulate them after they've done some work for you. And then learn how to promote them. Because now that they've done all that work for you, they've brought value to you, you congratulated them, they feel good about themselves. You made them feel good about themselves. Now you promote them, make them feel even better. You give them a raise. And then once you're done with that, give back to the community, because you've established a team, you've established a partnership, whatever it is that is running so smoothly, so well oiled, that you will have the time to give back to the community, right? And once you do that, people are going to be like, okay, these guys are something. Like, these guys are shining. These guys are on fire. They mean business. They're really good at what they do. Let's go find out more about them. And that's how you attract people for free. You give back to the community. After you've done that, now, this is the tough part. Find your values, both inward facing and outward facing. It'll bring you prosperity and strength. What are values? A lot of people ask me that. How do you find the values within yourself? Look for a mentor. Look at your parents. Because understand that if you are alive today, you are a product of a mom and a dad. And your mom and dad is a product of their mom and dad. And their mom and dad is a product of their mom and dad, and so on and so forth. And you follow that tree all the way up. Whatever happened in their lives and whatever skills that they obtained, let's say if your grandpa, great grandpa, whatever, was a great martial artist, you have it in you to be a martial artist as well. You just have to be disciplined enough to practice it, right? Finding the value within yourself is understanding something that you refuse to let go of. For me, it's spirituality, okay? Being spiritual protects me in every way, shape, and form. It allows me to say the things I say. It allows me to be aware of my surroundings and have a better understanding of nature itself. So if I were to say what is spirituality and what is values inward facing, it's nature. It's a fundamental understanding of the people around you through nature. Okay? So outward facing, what is that? What is the value that you can give to others? It's what you can sell to bring yourself value. For instance, can you teach the inward facing value? Can I teach spirituality? Yes, I can teach meditation. Yes, I can teach martial arts. Yes, I can teach anything that I'm a trusted expert in. So that's how you find the outward facing value. Why does it bring prosperity? Well, look at this. You're valuable to the community now. And people who find the value within you, they will come and back you up each time. That'll bring you gifts. That'll bring you, in times of need. You'll always have prosperity with you once you understand the values within you and the values that you can give to the community. Okay. Here's my most urgent one that I think we all should understand. Life is not about winning or losing. It's about authenticity and ranking. Now, you must be thinking, ranking, isn't that about winning and losing? Yeah, it is when you go through a competition. And when you lose, you should be humble enough to understand that the man that beat you is greater than you, and you must learn from him or her. Bow down. Be honest and authentic about how you lost. Reflect on that and improve yourself and ask for a rematch. I'll give you an example. There's a girl named Pa, right? And I'm running my mouth on Facebook. Something about race relations. So this is way back, about 3 years ago. And holy cow, did she set me straight on Facebook. And you know what I did? The first thing I did, I was like, I bow down to you, because she just shut me up. She wrote this whole long list of paragraphs like, this is why you're wrong. This is why you're like ignorant as hell. And this is why you should take this post off. And she just went, boom, flat out, just laid me out on Facebook. And I left it on Facebook because I knew I was royally put to sleep. And it was quite an eye-opener for me. So I learned from her. I took what she said in all of her paragraphs. And again, that brought value to me. She taught me how to speak. She taught me how to frame my topics. And she taught me how to frame my subjects. After that, I kept reanalyzing what she wrote me and learned from it, and kind of used how she framed things to help frame my things. And that brings value. Because if you hate someone who shuts you down on Facebook, you'll never learn from it. And you'll become bitter, arrogant, and just lost. Because you're lying to yourself if you know that you got shut down and you don't learn from it. All right? Life is not about winning and losing. I'm going to go with another thing. Conversations are not about winning or losing. Just because you enter into a conversation, you don't always have to be the last one to speak. As a matter of fact, you should speak the least. Because understanding that the people who speak the most are probably just rambling along. And now you're probably wondering why I'm rambling along today. Well, I'll tell you why a little later here. Now, life is not about winning. It's about authenticity and ranking. Be authentic to yourself, not anyone else. And it doesn't matter if you lie to others. It matters if you lie to yourself. Understand that you must be honest with who you are and what you know. And it's always better off not knowing, even if you know, because you oversell yourself. And if somebody comes across, hey, didn't you say you know about this? And you don't know about it, you're screwed, right? Here's my favorite one too. Get out of your parents' house ASAP. Roommates are a huge part of life. So go find somebody to bunk with. They're an essential, what do you call it, lesson in life. To room with anybody, a stranger. There's always, like, for instance, in college, you go into dorm rooms. I hear lots of college stories where it was the best time of their life. It's also the most, what do you call it? It's kind of funny how you just, when I'm 33 years old and I look at these college dorms and they're a bunch of kids right out of high school. I'm like, whoa. When I think back to high school, I'm like, these guys are adults. Now I'm thinking about it, like, these are just kids, right? So go find a roommate and learn from him. And you got to get out of your parents' house, man, as soon as you can. If you got to go to college to do so, then go to college. I'm not a proponent of colleges, but you know what? I have found in life that college is what makes people and helps people become independent. It's the most brutal way to become independent, but hey, guess what? It teaches people how to be independent. That's all that matters. Now, this will lead me to my next part. Letting go. You see how I used to say, screw college, right? I used to denigrate social institutions like that, nonprofits. I used to talk mad stuff about them. But now that I think about it, right? Regardless of how small and how little the amount of people that they help, they still help people. That's their intention, not hurt them. And for you to help somebody, quite honestly, you have to make a few mistakes before you help anybody. And so that's part of the game, right? Letting go will lead to peace and not loneliness. This is the biggest one, I think. Let go of the things that don't benefit you anymore. I have the hardest time with this, right? Like today, I'm dealing with relationships. And my greatest concern in my lifetime and my greatest paranoia, I guess you can call it a fear, I'm kind of avoiding that word fear, is being alone, right? Right now I'm alone. I'm in the studio by myself. But I thought about it. If I remember my discipline and I understand my skill set and know my values, I should not be afraid of being alone, because I do have that skill and I am valuable and I have become a part of the community. I have learned the fundamentals of gathering, congratulating, promoting, giving back, establishing myself, and practicing an hour a day, reading an hour a day, even though I don't like to, and done all kinds of stuff to make me who I am today. When you get to this point, a lot of people are going to look at you like you fake as hell. As a matter of fact, they're going to call you fake. Be real and be authentic to who you are, because the people who are calling you fake are the ones who are actually just being fake themselves. They don't understand who they are. That's why they call you fake. Because why would you call people fake in front of everybody else? What's the point of that? What's the purpose of calling someone out in that case? Are they hurting anybody? Are they trying to force you to follow something that you don't think is real? The people who are hurting others are typically hurt themselves, okay? So let go of that stuff. I didn't add this to the list, but this will lead me to the next part. Nice guys finish last, always. Why? I'm not talking about giving up the nice guy in you. There's a lot of us that are just naturally nice guys, but it makes you look weak. It makes you kind of clingy, and it makes you not valuable anymore because you're always there, hand and feet. Let the woman chase you just a little bit. Like, don't make those extra calls. Don't type that extra paragraph. Just let it go. And if she likes you, she'll call you. And if she stops calling you, she stops texting you, she stops doing all that stuff, then don't call her either. And it was not meant to be. right? That'll lead me to this next part. Letting go is not a weapon. It is a peace agreement to you and whoever it is you are letting go. Both must sign on the dotted lines. Otherwise, they consider it ghosting. Okay? Ghosting is not okay. Ghosting can be used as a powerful, powerful weapon and cause people to kill themselves. Because you leave them in their own mind with their own thoughts, and that screws people up because you the person who you ghosted is wondering, what the heck did I do wrong? Why did he or she leave me? And then you start imagining things, the worst things in your head. And then now you're blowing up that person's phone. That person's blowing up your phone. It's never okay. Ever. Do not envy other people, for you will forever live in their shadows. Back in high school, you know how you're in senior and there's some kids that have cars before you do, especially nice ones, right? I used to envy that. I used to think, man, why can't I have something that nice, right? And I would just kind of drool every time I saw those nice cars drive by. And that made me kind of bitter, like, damn, my life is not fair. Like, why do they get nice cars and I don't? Because I was back when I was 17. When I look back on it today, like, I got some nice cars today. I love my TL outside. I love my Accord. Man, it was just a matter of time. You know what? I worked hard for those cars. They're all paid off. And what about the people who had nice cars at that time? Well, I'll tell you right now, they're struggling. Some of them are. Some of them are still rich, and they will always be rich. But material things are not something that'll keep you happy. They'll make you happy. They won't keep you happy, right? So don't envy other people. Otherwise, you're always going to be living under their shadow. You praising them. You're giving them your energy. You're just like, ah, and you're causing unnecessary drama within yourself. Okay. Here's one of my favorite ones. Again, family will kill you first. Love your family, choose your friends, because they're the ones who has all the weapons and all your secrets within the little pocket, and they'll pull it out and use it against you the second they can. And they rely on you, right? They do. All family members rely on each other because that's what family members are for. That doesn't mean that you have to set yourself back so that they can go forward, right? If you're building your own house and they're building theirs, why would you give your bricks to them so they can build their house? Why not build your house first so that they, and then go back and help them build afterwards? I know I said that wrong, but you guys get the point. Don't be giving the bricks off your own back when you don't have them yourself, okay? I'm going to get to the individual needs here now for you. This will help you get through life, because everyone's going to get to that point where like, damn, life sucks. Life's not fair. Things are happening. Why are they happening to me? Or why can't anybody listen to me? Well, here's what it is. There's a need to be seen. There's a need to be heard. There's a need to be connected. And there's a need to belong. None of these pertain to family. I know you must be thinking like, okay, I don't want to leave my family, even though they drink every weekend. And I can't drink anymore. And it's starting to get boring to me. But I don't want to leave them because I need a sense of belonging. I need a sense of connection to them. No, push them away. If they're true to you and they're truly your family members, they'll understand. And they will always be there for you. And if they don't, let them go. Because ultimately, it's up to you to find your own happiness all the time, every time. If you need to be seen, you got to go and see somebody else. Give them their time of day. If you need to be heard, go and listen to somebody else. Give them their time of day and hope and pray that they give you yours. Okay? If you need to be connected to something, go and join a committee. If you need a sense of belonging, go and find that group of people that's outside of your family and go provide them with humility and the values that you learned on your own. They'll give you a sense of belonging. Don't seek your family for a sense of belonging. Don't do that. You'll be disappointed each time. Mistakes only hurt if you make them more than twice. They are a learning curve. For instance, if you're walking in a trail, there's a big boulder there, and you trip over the boulder. When you come back around, are you gonna trip over the same boulder? Sometimes you do. Sometimes you're carrying stuff, and boom, you trip over, you can't see it. It only hurts if you do it more than twice. Don't make the same mistakes twice. I tell you, that's probably says it all for that one. All right, so love is not what it feels like. Keep striving. Be better than somebody. Be good for the person you love. And here's the next one. Become a mentor. Mentors will become mentees naturally. That's the cycle of being a mentor. Leaders lead from behind. So once I go out and I give you these fundamentals, right? And you go out and implement them, and you look at me and I make a mistake, you're going to call me out on it. I'm like, yep, you're right. I made a mistake. And then you're going to go find something different because your mind is different than my mind. And you're going to add something. I'm like, yep, you're right. Or you're going to tell me that one of these things are wrong. I'm like, okay, I get it. And then now I start learning from you. You have to provide yourself with some humility first, though. And before you can do that, understand that the mentors always become the mentees every time. I wish our seniors would understand that. Before he was king, he was a fool. It is the fool that wins the gold. You have to try. Just make a fool out of yourself if you want to win. It is a fool that wins the gold. I don't know why else to say that. Like, if you don't try, you never win. And sometimes when you try, you're going to look stupid as hell. But guess what? You're going to learn from that stupidity and improve upon it and keep going, right? We are one people. I can't say enough that, if you are alive today, you are a product of your mom and your dad. And your mom and dad is a product of their mom and dad. And when you go up that line, all the way up, it'll lead back to some of the greatest people, like Genghis Khan. At 1 out of every 4 man has a Genghis Khan gene. Okay, fine. Genghis Khan is a relative. Well, let's go back even further. Look at the gods. Where did we come from? The gods, right? Some of us have a lineage of Zeus. Just saying, I'm giving you an example. Some of us have a lineage of Horus, the Egyptian gods. Some of them has a lineage of Shiva, and so on and so forth, right? And these are all mythic creatures. But you know what? Myths and mystics are the essential functionalities of what makes us great. It gives us a reason to do things that are out of the ordinary. And trust me, I've seen some amazing things. Next one will be, we all share in the same experiences, just at different times. I could have, let's say, speaking. Here we go. Speaking in front of a crowd. Like, I've gone and made so many speaking mistakes. And, that was when I was younger. I started speaking at a very young age publicly. Well, you haven't started speaking yet. And you're probably, if you are in your 40s, well, if you ever wanted to start speaking, it's okay to go out there and make mistakes. Just because you're older than me doesn't mean you can't make a mistake. Be vulnerable. Go out there and experience in that of which you're afraid of, right? And that'll go back to your values. That'll go back to fear, fake evidence appearing real, so on and so forth. I can feel those who speak don't know. Those who know don't speak. Those who understand won't care. Those who care don't understand. That goes back to those who know don't speak and everything else. And you're probably wondering why I speak. Well, what is a good man but a bad man's teacher? What is a bad man but a good man's job? Because today there are too many people that say, not my problem. Way too many. And we shouldn't be doing that. If you have the proclivity to do something, do it. For instance, I'm a single man, right? I'm going to go out there and have the intention of helping somebody. I'm single. I live in this house alone. I don't have anybody I need to worry about. Next one would be, crowd mentality is the status quo. It will lead you to your death. Why would you promote something of which you're trying to defeat? That's what happens. You promote it. We need to stop talking about it. That's what we need to do. And stop following those crowds, because guess what? Guess what happens when those crowds disperse? You're by yourself, homie. This lead me to, I already said this earlier, but it is better to not know than to know, no matter what. Because you'll be overselling yourself. Again, don't oversell yourself. But how about instead, if it breaks and you said you didn't know, and then you come in, you do know, and you fixed it, you look way better. An unexpected surprise is what I call that. Me, my favorite quote is, "What is your greatest struggle?" That phrase always leads to dozens and dozens and dozens of conversations that last hours long, sometimes too long. And I guess in negotiation tactics, they call it labeling. It allows you to learn more about the customer than anything else. Law of the opposites. People don't hear in negatives. This is the one that I came up with. In society, people call it the law of reactance. Encourage people to do something. It always works out good in the end. And if you feel anxious all the time, you have too much stuff, get rid of everything. You got to declutter it, guys. This is probably one of the most fundamental ones, too. I'm a big, big, big offender of this. I'm looking around this room, and it's just a mess. I'm getting ready to declutter now. I just had some family members move out of my house, and I'm ready for the decluttering. It's going to be nice. I appreciate you guys hanging on this long. And you youth, you guys are valuable. Don't let anybody else tell you otherwise. We rely on you guys. It's too late for the millennials. And the elderly are the elderly. They're going to pass. I'll give you some facts. By 2030, there's going to be 4 baby boomers for every 1 millennial. They're going to outnumber us by a lot. And then 5 years after that, it's going to immediately switch to you guys. You guys are going to outnumber everyone soon. So prepare now. Be disciplined, understand the values within yourself, and learn how to be part of the community. Big, 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 huge things, okay? This was some of the fundamentals of life. We are one Minnesota to build a society of ethical leaders. Thank you guys for participating.